Hello and welcome to everyone accompanying us in the newest episode of Pier-to-Pier Podcast, where we explore the people who reside within these virtual worlds and the stories and knowledge that they carry. Tonight at the pier, I have somebody who is quite handy at what he does. Somebody whose main occupation is fixing problems for others, and they can be as simple from fixing a sink or just making sure your apartment doesn't catch fire. Tonight at the pier with me, I have, cause why not? And yes, that is his name here in VR. Cause why not? Welcome to the pier.
Hello. It's cause why not? My name, why not?
Your name, why not? Okay. So, before we start, let's just give our audience an introduction about who you are.
My name in VR is cause why not. I do pretty much everything but work on cars. Cars is not what I'm good at, but I do handyman stuff. I do HVAC, electrician work. I do drywall as well, but I'm not really good at drywall. I hate drywall. I also run a little YouTube. I also do a little bit of YouTubing in my free time. That doesn't really go anywhere though. It's just something I like to do on the side and make stupid memes, but I do like it. It's fun.
So, your main line of work is usually things where you get your hands dirty. It's usually manual labor around what is essentially like upkeeping apartments, properties, and just fixing general problems. Which, I mean, while interesting, how does one get into that line of work? Like, what got you into that line of work yourself?
Well, it's actually kind of funny, to be honest. I did start working with my grandfather whenever I was younger. So every day after school, I would go and work for him. And his main occupation was HVAC, but also plumbing and electrician work. So my main occupation is HVAC. But over through the time, I went with the coworkers. I slowly started to learn more and more and more and more. And after the course of 4 years, I think 4 to 3 years, whenever I did get out of school and I had a bunch of free time, I started working for him 24/7. He was my main job. And he started making me pay rent, blah, 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 blah. But through time, he actually made me go and do stuff by myself, per se. Finally let me go and work on jobs myself, because I guess he finally believed in me. But it was still really difficult to do. But after that, he fired me. Then I moved on and I got myself a different job. And during that time, I learned a bit more about like the ecosystem of the type of jobs I do, doing HVAC and plumbing, the ecosystem around it, and the companies that are also around it. But the job did not pay very well because the company was not that good. And I kept telling my mom about it. And my mom actually was in close proximity with one of my coworkers as well, and my grandfather. So the word kind of spread around. And Christian, which is one of my old coworkers that did work for my grandfather, his girlfriend needed a maintenance manager position for the apartment she was at. And at first I didn't think anything of it. I really did not care, but I was looking for something. So after some persuasion from my mother, finally decided to take up the job. And I was actually hired fairly quickly, mainly because the people that were hiring or the people that did apply were like druggies or felons or something like that. So I was pretty much a pretty medium-sized fish in a really small pond applying for that job. So that's how I got the job where I am now, where I am a maintenance technician over here at the apartments I'm at, or maintenance supervisor, which is the actual name of it. But yeah, I am the maintenance supervisor here.
So it's an apartment complex with how many units? Like how big is it? How much do you manage?
I think it's about, if I've been told this, I think 5 times now, if not more, about how many units we have. And I'm pretty sure we have 94 units, 94 or 98 units. And I have to manage every single one of them.
Just by yourself, without any assistance, without any support? Does all of the responsibility lay on your shoulders?
Well, my boss, which is the manager, but she is the only one that's working with me to do this. But my manager doesn't do any of the maintenance stuff. she's just doing all the computer doohickeys and all that other stuff. I don't really know what she does besides
administrative work.
Yeah, everything in between. But if it has anything to do with the apartments or getting people to work on the apartments, like some outside work and contractors, that's kind of where I have to come in. And if anything is going on or the higher ups, because there's a list of stuff that we have to do through the apartments, and she doesn't work on anything with the apartments. So I have to do everything within the apartments. That's 94 to 98 apartments that I have to manage accordingly and make sure everything's in tip-top condition. Because if not, you won't believe it, but these people will sputter out anything that they deem wrong or something to say. Word travels fast around here, really fast.
It isn't overwhelming having to handle that many units all by yourself.
Does get kind of overwhelming. And to be honest, whenever I did first take the position, I didn't think much of it. I was just seeing it as another job. But it is extremely, I wouldn't say, yeah, it is extremely overwhelming per se. I wasn't expecting this, but I got stuff I got to do 24/7. I have this whole list planned out of stuff I got to do one day. And then what do you know? Somebody's ceiling is deciding it's going to become a waterfall. And somebody's water heater is deciding to fall through the floor, or somebody else's water heater decides to break on them, or somebody's sink is leaking. And the thing is, doing this job, all my other jobs I've had before, I always had somebody to go back to or somebody to relay information from. Like, hey, I need help with this. Hey, I need help with this. Hey, I don't know what I'm doing. But this is the first job to where I have no backup. It's just me and the knowledge I have provided. And it is really pretty overwhelming.
Well, mad respect for surviving and enduring such a brutal workload. You have my respect because I'm glad that they got you and not, like you said, the other druggies or felons, because you never know. Maybe they don't take the job seriously. Maybe they are lazy. You never know. Sometimes it's good, like you say, to have a medium-sized fish in a small pond, because sometimes you just want that reliability and that somebody that can actually get the task done. So, from my perspective, mad respect. Now, I gotta know, what does your day-to-day usually look like at the job that you do?
The job that I normally do, it could range between anywhere from working regularly on the property, like cleaning up trash, which is usually what I do to start up my day as I walk around, clean up trash, wave, talk to people, be your friendly maintenance guy, not neighborhood Spider-Man, your maintenance guy. There's a difference. I do save the day and I do rescue people, that's besides the point.
friendly neighborhood, because why not?
Yeah, friendly neighborhood maintenance guy, yeah, all the way around. The thing is the days, after I usually do that, I always have a check with my boss, and she usually gives me a list of stuff I have to do, which I already have an idea on what I'm doing. But sometimes something does come up where we do get an emergency call once in a while. But between that, I have to make sure sometimes I have to get apartments ready. I mean, somebody moves out, I got to spiffy everything up, fix everything, put everything back in working order so I can get a new tenant in. And between that, the other thing I have to do is go into people's apartments when they make a service request and tidy up whatever they have to do. And other stuff to do is we actually, right now, I'll tell you what I got going right now. There is this big NDD or whatever inspection coming up for our phase 2. That's why we have so many apartments, because we have phase 1 of 50 and phase 2 of like 49, or no, you know what I mean. And the thing is I got to make sure phase 2 is ready to go, because if we lose this inspection, something big's going to happen. I can't really specify what, but something big's going to happen to the company. So I got almost 50 apartments. I got to make sure are almost in tip-top condition within, I think, 2 weeks now. And they check about 20% of phase 2. So I got to go in and make sure that everything is working. The sinks are okay. There's no water dripping everywhere, or the blinds are okay, and the screens. I have to learn how to make screens for something I didn't know how to do till recently. Really interesting. But fixing everybody's issues is usually what I do.
I mean, again, mad respect. So, since you have to deal with so many people, or I mean, maybe not many people, but you aside from being someone that has to do like hard work and actually like fix things around the complex, you also have to deal with people because it is part of the job. You have to actually talk with people. You have to interact. You are like the face of wellness to the residents that live here. What's the hardest part about dealing with the people that reside in these units?
Okay, that's a funny question. And don't get me started. The number one thing I heavily dislike, it could range from anything. If you think about everybody here and the type of people they are, the people I hate the most are the people that talk way too much. I'm not saying they get in my way or anything, but if I'm in a rush and like, hey, I need to talk to you for a minute, or like, hey, how's it going? And then I get struck up in a conversation, and especially there's this one lady whose name I will not specify, but she is pretty old, so I give her that. But will not stop talking. You got a place to be, people to see, stuff to do, money to make. That's one of the top people I dislike here, specifically them, because I'm busy. And a lot of the residents here actually respect me for who I am and what I do. So I don't really have issues with them all too well. But one of the recent issues I've had actually recently is a tenant that says, or wanted to report me because I didn't do my job correctly. But the main reason was because she said there was a hole in her wall. I went to go check for a hole in the wall, didn't find a hole in the wall. Turns out the dryer vent had a hole in it. And she wanted to tell me that it was my fault. I was like, lady, can you please tell me? How are you telling me that there's a hole in the wall, so I go to look for a hole in the wall, but there's no hole in the wall, so now I got to look for this. It's not my fault that you didn't tell me the right thing. And it's annoying. It's annoying. I got to, like, that I don't like about these tenants. They don't
People
understand.
are actually trying to tell you how to do your job. Like
Yeah.
they feel like they know more about the job, about how to fix things than you, the person who's in charge of actually fixing the things.
Yeah, but I do kind of have to give them a sort of leeway. They do understand you live in these apartments. You do want your apartment to be in tip-top condition, and you want to make sure that everything's going the way you kind of want it to. So I understand if you're looking over my shoulder. I understand if you're asking questions and all this other stuff, because I'll be more than happy to answer them and tell you what I know, because, well, you deserve to know. But, like, can you tell me why I'm here and, like, what I'm supposed to do? Because sometimes the work orders I get are vague, and sometimes I type up blah, 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 and I go look for something completely different because the work order is vague, and they may not be there. And if they're not there, then I have to enter anyways because I got a work order, which means I'm able to. But I'll look around for 10 minutes and I can't find anything, and they get mad at me for not fixing it. Like, I'm sorry, the work order was vague and you weren't there.
Dealing with people, especially people who just want their things to get done quickly. Like nobody likes an issue where they live. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure you also were able, I mean, from these experiences, you were able to learn a little bit more about human behavior, which, I mean, how much have you learned about human behavior from your work? Because I feel like your work is not only like maintenance, but how much is it like maintenance versus people management?
That's actually a really good question. Because there's a difference between working for the town, like my old job was. I had to go from house to house to house with my coworkers to figure out what the issue was and fix it. This isn't houses. This is low-income housing, which is something totally different. A lot of the people here are entitled. And whenever you're working out during houses and stuff like that, they're more on to you, per se, and they respect you a bit more. And there's a deeper level of communication because you're working for them privately. They're paying you $100 an hour to unclog a sewer drain or fix their AC. But here, they put in whatever they want, and they want everything to be tip-top condition because they're entitled to it. They feel like it has to be this way, it has to be like this. This is what I want, it has to be like this. Because they're not paying like anything for me to be there. They're just paying their rent. So they're entitled, and they think that they deserve it all when, like, ma'am, you're not at the top of the world. There's 2 other people that want the exact same thing you do, and 3 other people that want something entirely different. I can't take what you want and do it for you. Everything has to be the same. I cannot treat one person better than the other here. I gotta treat every single person like they're equal. Because if I don't, they can take that, turn it behind my around my back, and then boom, that's discrimination. Boom, that's something else, and boom, there goes part of my job, and there goes my future. I have to be very careful with what I do around here because everybody is looking at me for being the maintenance guy. They don't have enough respect as the people that are around in the world because they're entitled to it. They're not paying for you.
I mean, I don't live in. I currently live in a house, but my family does have an apartment, like a beachside apartment, and there is somebody that handles almost like the same line of work you do, which is unit management. So fixing toilets, fixing leaks. Maybe there's something wrong with the roof, lights, yada yada yada. And people tend. I mean, now that you mention it that way, I mean, yeah, whenever you're actually paying for something, you tend to be more careful with it. You actually tend to treat it with utmost respect because, there are people that are there like to fix your problems. So most of your experiences have been because people feel entitled to your services, even though like they're giving something, low income housing. It's complicated. Like I feel like those people that work positions like yours deserve the utmost respect, especially because you're also doing your work from kindness. I mean, you are not getting anything from it. I mean, you're doing your job.
Oh, something else I like to point out is that I'm not saying that everybody's entitled. If you rent an apartment, then you rent an apartment. If you rent a house, you rent a house. Cheers to you. But the reason why I'm saying this is not because they're renting, but it's because it's specifically for low-income housing. It's for low-income housing. So people that don't make enough money or like are slowly starting to build up their will so therefore they can buy a house. If you're renting an apartment, that's kind of different, but this is for like low. So that's why I say like a lot of them are kind of entitled to it because of that exact reason. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm saying most of them are, not all of them. Some of them.
Obviously, it's never a 100% negative thing. It's always like a balance. You're gonna have your good people. You're gonna have your bad people. It's a mix. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, kind of like what my grandfather said. Whenever I was trying to choose a profession or something like that, he was always like, "You can do this, this, or this. Each job comes with its downs. Pick your poison. You're gonna hate one part or the other, whether you like it or not. Comes with the job." And he was right. I gotta give him credit for that.
For example, what is something that people misunderstand about what you do?
A lot of the people here, I think they're slowly starting to realize, but like I can't really grant specific requests. I can't really do exactly what you ask of me because you only have so much of a voice here because of the agreement you sign and stuff like that. So I can only really, like I said earlier, I have to treat everybody the same, and each apartment has to be done kind of like the same way. So if you ask for this and this and this, I can give you this and this, but not that. It's like very specific on what I can actually give you or what I can actually fix. And I have to ask my manager this too, because there are some people that want some help on the side, like moving a bed frame or doing this or doing that. But I don't know exactly where the line is between the apartment and like what they actually want of like my own free time. Because whenever I'm on the clock, I'm working for my company. I am the company. I have to work for them. I'm part of the company. So I can only do what the company requires me. I gotta be really careful.
Right, like any job, you can't exactly go beyond what your limitations of your job is, because could damage the image, especially if you start doing things on the side. And they're like, "Oh, you did this for that person, then you got to do it for me," and that's where the issue starts.
That's exactly right. My manager made that specifically clear. Whenever I was doing this job, I think she said it 3 times in the first week. It's like, you cannot do anything for anyone else, or you can't do anything special for anyone at all, which I do completely understand. That's just part of the company.
Everyone will expect you
right.
to do it for everybody, and then you're gonna end up losing because all of a sudden now you have extra responsibilities that were not part of your original responsibilities. Like you're gonna screw yourself. Discrimination. That happens a lot. Discrimination. Like, do people use that card a lot at your unit, at
They
your
don't really
apartment complex?
say that a lot, but it's stated in the paper that if I treat somebody better than somebody else, they can go behind my back and start talking about it. Be like, hey, he did this for me. And then someone can be like, well, he didn't do that for me. It's because I'm white, isn't it? And then there they go. And that's discrimination because we also work for, I think it's called HUD, I'm pretty sure. HUD housing. It's basically the state saying you have to meet these certain requirements for like the disabled, this and this and this and that. Like, we cannot discriminate against anybody who comes in. Like, one of the tenants here, I just found out is a Nazi. Mainly because he has a Nazi tattoo on his stomach. And he also just got bit by a brown recluse. Pretty funny and ironic. But we cannot discriminate between anybody at all.
No, you gotta treat him equally, even if he has a nasty tattoo.
Yes, sir.
Oh boy. I mean, now that you mentioned that story, now I really want to know a little bit more about the stories that you have come upon from your line of work. So I'm going to ask you several questions. So maybe you can expand a little bit. Let's begin with, what's the most chaotic situation you've ever had to handle?
That's a good one. There's this one lady. Ooh, I don't know what her issue is, but she kind of lives by herself in one of our units. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I don't even know where to start. It's insane. Whenever I first started working here, my manager would not let me go into her apartment without her being there because the last person who went in there, or actually, you know how we have to outsource like work and stuff because I can't really do it all. So if I'm busy, we can outsource a company or two. We had an HVAC company come in one time and work on her AC for her. And then she immediately turned it around and tried to sue them for sexual assault when they did not do anything at all. So then because of that, now they will not work for us as an outsource anymore. So, actually she did it on several occasions. So now every time I go in there, she will not let me in there without her there, my manager. Because several things she's accused me of. Here's a list. Yeah, you're gonna love this list. She accused me of pissing in her detergent. Leaving her key underneath the mat when she specifically told me to. Coming in through the attic access of her apartment and pissing in her detergent. Coming in through the second story window, which is facing the parking lot. And she actually called me one night using the emergency service, because if you have an emergency, you can call the number and then I get the phone call or the voice recording. And she actually accused me, and word for word, she said, I know, hold up, I gotta remember this. She said specifically, I know you did this, I know you did that, I'm gonna file a police report, I'm gonna get you arrested, I'm gonna sue you, thank you, have a good night, I don't want to see you and talk to you ever again. And that was at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, and then I tried to go back to sleep, but then I couldn't, and then I had to call my manager and be like, this was what happened. She's like, cool. Nothing came of it, she apologized, I just found that really funny. But I could not sleep because of that.
So even after all that, like, she just gets a slap in the wrist, like nothing, no fine, because I feel
that's
like
about it. That's really about it. But I did read and I did find out that you cannot really treat the workers of the property with too much disrespect or anything. But she's done this over and over and over to countless other people that has worked for the company. So I don't know why she kind of gets away with it, but after that sort of inclination, she kind of stopped. And that's, I don't know, it just kind of stopped one day and she hasn't really done it again. That's actually about it with her. She's been really interesting. She's also one of those that wants everything in tip-top condition, wants everything in one perfect order, because if she's not, she's going to throw a fist. That's about it.
oh boy. Okay, now, have you ever had to solve a problem completely on the fly?
Okay, I got this one good one. I was replacing this water heater, but our thing is, the entire place here is really old. Whoever made it put in these stupid CPVC ball valves which are plastic, and they hardly work at all. And then they break, and then the water won't go off to the unit. Oh my God, they're so annoying. And then I got to shut off water to the entire apartment building, which I've had to do that once. After that, I had to take apart the ball valve, so therefore I could work on it easier in the future and replace it. After I did that, I put it back together and I did everything, and I used PVC. I used glue and I glued it all together. It was slightly wet, but I was able to work with it, put it together, turn the water back on, and then I sat in the apartment for a little bit, like 10 to 20 minutes. Hooked everything back up, water heater done, everything done. And then after 20 minutes passed, I'm like, okay, everything's good. I put down my paper, start writing what I did. And I scared the crap out of me. I looked towards the closet, and the ball valve flew off the side and just started spraying 60 pounds of pressure straight into the side of the wall. It was bad. Oh my God, it was awful. And luckily, I was able to kind of stop the water a little bit, but I ran as fast as I could, and I got the shock bite fittings, which you just slam them on there and they're supposed to work. And I've only heard bad things about them, and I've never really used them because for that exact reason. I don't want to be unreliable or having to go back and fix something I already did. But when push came to shove, I grabbed it and I just shoved it on there as fast as I could, and then turned the ball valve. And somehow, I don't know how, but that shark bite gripped, and it gripped good, and it did not leak at all. And I was just so amazed. It was like, shark bites, thank you. You regained my respect now. You didn't leak. You stopped the issue. Thank you. You're going to stay there now. And it was the first time something like that ever happened to me, and it just like completely blew me aback. And I did not freeze or anything like that. I was actually pretty proud of myself. I immediately rushed the situation. I immediately just tried to stop the water, because if not, it's going to be another big issue because of organic growth. And I was able to fix it as fast as I could, and I did not freeze. And I'm happy I didn't freeze.
But that water heater incident, was that because of human error, or was that because a part failed?
A lot of the water heaters here are actually really bad. We have hard water. There are no water softeners within this apartment complex at all. No water softeners. And you're really only supposed to use water heaters and stuff like that whenever you have a water softener. Because if not, calcium build up, and which will cause them to blow and not work anymore. Because the elements inside get surrounded by calcium, and then that builds up the temperature even higher, and then they blow up, which causes me to have to remove them and replace it and drain the water heater, blah, 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 blah. I have to fix it. So because of that, it seems like almost every week we have 2 to 3 water heaters going out, mainly because of that hard water situation. But there's nothing we can do to fix it because none of our apartments have soft water because there's no water softener. Only hard water.
Actually, like I mentioned, like an apartment that my family has, there's also hard water, and the water heater. I don't remember the name of the part, but you know it's like a long tube made out of copper, I think.
It's not copper. It's like aluminum, but there's a copper rod that goes inside. It's called an element.
And you say hard water can actually damage a water heater quicker.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Hard water damages everything so much quicker. Your faucet, hard water will damage that. Your shower head, hard water will damage that because it's calcium. It's calcium buildup. Half of our toilets here actually look really disgusting and yellow because that calcium water kind of slowly erodes it away and builds calcium, so it looks ugly as hell. The calcium will ruin a lot of your stuff. That's why you always want to see if you can get yourself a water softener, because calcium will destroy your plumbing so fast. It's incredible how fast it works. I never realized it until I started working here. I vacuum out, because something you can do to counteract this, actually. Whenever you're working on a water heater and you undo that bottom element, it's a long copper thing, you have access to the inside of the water heater through this like tube that the element goes in. You can see, I actually shop vacked it out, and my shop vac's like, pretty big, and I had this much of just pure hard calcium rock. Just calcium. That was just the bottom of the water heater. Just shutting down that bottom element, causing it to blow up. You need a water softener if you want to protect your plumbing.
That's actually a good piece of advice. No, I'll come back to you afterwards because I really want your opinion about things people should know about general house maintenance. Like I want your input about that. But let's just keep this going. How about this? Any moment from your work that stuck with you emotionally?
I try to disconnect myself from these people here just so I don't feel that, because then I'll have an urge to do something. The only thing really is sometimes I'll do just a little bit of stuff on the side, like helping out this old lady and run to the mailbox to grab her mail for her, and then I brought it back. That's about it. Mainly because, what do you expect me to do? This 80-year-old lady's like, hey, can you go run in the mail and get my mail for me? Am I supposed to say no? It's gonna make me a shitty human being, bro. It's just one small thing I can do. Like, God, don't get mad at me or don't hang me on a cross. I'm just getting this lady's mail. It's only gonna take 1 minute. But that's really the only emotional thing that I really have. I try to distance myself from everybody. I can never get too close with people here because that's also discrimination. I cannot be friends with anyone.
What's something that your residents never notice that actually takes huge effort behind the scenes?
Something else, I guess I'll say this. The time it takes to complete a job, per se. Because there are some times to where I'd be like, I can get this done in about an hour or two. And they'll say, oh yeah, you can get this done in an hour or two. I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. It makes sense. But no, because something I've realized working here is that something can happen at any time. Even my manager is like, you can knock this out in a couple hours. I'm like, yes, I can. This job here seems simple enough. I can do it in a couple hours. Even the residents say so. I go to it, start working on the job, and then boom, something happens. And now it's another 30 minutes, another 30 minutes, another 30 minutes, and another 30 minutes. Now, before I know it's taking up my entire morning, and some people are wondering why I didn't get to them yet. That's like, some things come up that I cannot prevent. And it's so annoying because I have this list I want to do, but things just come up. And I apologize I can't get to you today, and I know you're on time and you took off work, but things come up. I tried. Some people, they, like I said, they're entitled. They don't realize that, and they throw a fit. But that's really about it. That's something that they really don't know. Everything else, they kind of understand.
So what is the one rule you'd say about the one in rule about living in a unit or an apartment that everyone should know?
Here's some. If I'm coming in to work on something, now this happened to me recently. If I'm coming to work on something, please make sure that your unit's like at least somewhat clean, because they get so filthy sometimes. And it's really annoying to go and work on the stuff, especially when there's piles of dishes and I can't get to the garbage disposal because the cabinet's full. Clean out some of your stuff and the maintenance guys come in and work on it, because that saves so much time. And also, if you got a dog in your unit, can you like do your best to like put in a back room or something? Because my manager won't really let me in if the dog's barking at the front door and clawing at it. But then one of the golden things I can say is general maintenance. As long as you take care of the unit will take care of you, and the less I will have to come around and do stuff. Are you cleaning your filter? Hell, there was somebody that came in a while ago, didn't even know they had to replace their clean their dryer vent. Because you know how, or the dryer filter per se. Yeah, it's the filter. It's the stuff that catches the lint. They didn't even know they had to clean that. And I got a work order of it, lift it up, clean it, put it back in, and now it works just fine. General maintenance. Take care of the unit, and the unit will take care of you. Not that difficult. Like I said, they're entitled. They don't know. Oh.
No, that difficult, but not everybody has the exact same mentality. Everybody's a different machine, a different universe. Every head is a universe. Just like complex.
Yeah, the thing is the units are so dirty sometimes. Like, just clean up a little bit. You'll be amazed at what 10 minutes of cleaning will do if you just clean up a little bit and just make it just a bit nicer. Because I cannot say anything about a unit. If I go into a unit and it's filled up to the brim with the trash, or it's disgusting, or they're a hoarder, I cannot say a word. Do you know why? Discrimination. They said this, they said that, I said this, and now there goes my job. I got to keep everything to myself, even though your dog won't shut the fuck up, and you need to stop feeding it treats and discipline it. Because if you feed your dog whenever I'm working because it's barking at me, then you know what's going to do? It's going to keep barking in the corner while I'm trying to fix your water heater, and the element's not coming out, and I'm losing my mind.
The things you have to deal. You have a tough job. You have a tough line of work. But At the end of the day, I feel like what you do, I mean, it does make you feel comfortable. It makes you feel helpful, and you're actually helping people. Maybe people who might or might not be completely grateful for the help, but you know many things that just general people do not know. And my next question goes towards that area because I want to know what is a skill or skills that you think everyone should know.
The only thing that the daily everybody person can know is like I said earlier, just the general maintenance on your house, like cleaning the AC filter or making sure your garbage disposal's clean, clean the filter on your dishwasher. It's the stuff like that that actually really helps me in the long run as well, because then I don't have to stop everything I'm doing to help you. If you look up just some stuff you can do or some stuff just like around your apartment or ask for some tips, that I can give you some advice to make sure that your apartment's working with you to save me a lot of time. Because not everybody's going to know how to fix your sink or, fix your toilet and all this other stuff. But it's the small things that really build up into the big things. So if you can take care of the small things, it really helps me out tremendously. Truly does. So as long as, it helps me a lot. And I feel like people should know the small things of the maintenance of taking care of your apartment. That's what I think everybody should know. And that's really what I feel like.
Now, let's switch around the narrative because now I want to know your VR story of how you got into the VR space.
VR story? That goes back a long way. Because I've been in VR chat for almost... Here, let me check real quick. If I go to my profile, I've been on VR chat for, 5 years. Actually, counting 6 years. Because my first year was on a quest. I was completely on a quest. And whenever I got my computer, I used the link. And then I finally was actually able to kind of jerry-rig everything together to where I got my actual profile going on. The way I got into VR was mainly because of... I went to the mall. God, this is so long ago. I went to the mall. And there was one of those VR games, to where you put on this backpack, whatever, and you have this headset on. You play one of these VR games. I did it with my family. It was actually really fun. And I actually did really enjoy it. So I did a little bit of research into it. Mind the way, I was 15 at the time? Didn't really have anything really going for me because I'm kind of a loner. I asked my dad if he could get me a Quest. I saw the Quest 2 was coming out and doing all this other stuff. So I was like, hey, Dad, can I get a Quest? He got me a Quest and I actually have a picture of it, of me happy as ever holding the Quest box whenever it came to my front door. And using that, I remember staying up, staying up in our basement. And I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, run down to the basement with my Quest and play Beat Saber, Gorn, and all this other stuff, and just play till 7 o'clock when I got to go to school. It was a disease. But eventually it got to the point where I was started playing in the living room because I had a bit more space there. And I finally clicked on it. Clicked on VR chat. One of the biggest mistakes in my life. God. So it was okay. I didn't really think anything of it. And then I started going to Public Worlds. And it was actually really interesting. And you want to know the first thing I saw? The first thing I saw when I loaded in was I went and got an avatar, which was from the Furry Public World, because I thought they were interesting. I really thought they were interesting. It was this weird chibi-looking thing. It was 5 years ago. And I switched to one more world, which was the Cherry Blossom Japanese Palace. Right down the middle aisle, I see Erexium, the old blue one, e-girl with the out. That was one of the first things I ever saw 5 years ago. And I was hooked. I was hooked.
You saw something completely naughty and you're like, great, I love this place.
This is awesome. That's the first thing I see. I just load in. I look right down the middle of these two Japanese shrines. That's what I see. And I was hooked. I started playing it religiously. I was doing the same thing I did before, but instead of playing Gorn or Beat Saber, it was VR chat. I remember sitting in Midnight Rooftop in a public lobby, sitting in one of the chairs in front of the mirror, and crisscrossing the exact same way I was doing in real life, because that's the way the chairs were. So then, at that moment of time, whenever I was young, I was like, I'm gonna get full body tracking. And I think next summer, I was able to get a computer, which wasn't really like it was a green one from Walmart. And I was like, sick, this will do. And after like another year, or no, I think it was during the same year, I worked, because I think my mom got that for me. Yeah, she did. She got the computer for me. And I used the computer for a little bit. And the thing is that really got me going was I worked all summer long. I had no bills to pay, nothing to spend money on. And I saved up that money. All the money I got, I finally bought the Index and I bought the trackers for it. The only reason why I did was because of this app that said, "Are you ready for the Valve Index?" And I was like, one of my friends' computer was better than mine, but his was like one of those Apple laptops or one of those Apple monitors that has everything on them, that has Windows and whatnot. He couldn't run it, but I could because I had a desktop, one of those big clunky things. And I click on it, I'm like, I'm ready. Dude, I'm ready. I'm ready. I can do this. Because I thought I was going to have to upgrade my computer and buy a new one. But no, I was ready. Bought everything I needed, and I got full body tracking, and it was incredible. It was awesome. It was really worth it. Now, I could go in detail about my past on VR chat, but it's not really safe for work per se. But I guess one word I could say, how do I want to say this? The only thing I would say is harem. That's all I'd say. That was whenever, like, my first few years on VR chat. It was full of that. And after that, I kind of slowly started finding myself a bit more.
I want you to talk a little bit about your avatar, the persona that you use to identify yourself here. And I see like some unique design behind it. Care to talk a little bit about it?
Well, the inspiration thing is, I'm one of those furries that don't really have a persona or anything like that. Because to be honest, furries are cringe. I know I'm a hypocrite because I am a furry, but a lot of this stuff is cringe. The thing is that, how do I want to say this? This avatar that I have on was the first avatar I ever made specifically for me. It was the first avatar I've actually ever made legitimately. I have, I think, 7 other Rexiums that have different versions, but I've always had people make them for me. Now, the original, I was in a call with my friend, and we were going over what my avatar to look like. He was start messing with the color slider, and it turned everything black and white. And I was like, wait up. That. And he looked at me, or he didn't look at me, but he said, really? It's black and white. And I was like, yes. He was like, but it's literally black and white. And I was like, yes. So I used that as my final avatar base, and I kind of just grew from it. I just started using it on everything. Now it identifies as me, and it's the type of persona I put myself in. Well, I can't really say persona, because I am myself. I am me. I don't have a persona, because I feel like I don't have to put myself in something else to express myself. I am comfortable expressing myself the way I am, and through me. I don't need a persona or anything like that to express myself. Because a lot of furries have personas, and they have these fursuits, and they use those as an addition to express themselves because they feel like they can be themselves. I don't really feel that, so this is me. Not really a persona, this is just me, who I am. And I'm happy to be me, and I'm proud to be me. I'm proud to be who I am now. I'm not putting myself in the avatar. I'm using the avatar to express myself as I am now. That's why I got full body and stuff. So I can express to you who I am and how I feel and who I am. And I like that a lot. I like to be immersed in this virtual world mainly because I can talk to people, because I'm very outgoing, but at the same time, I'm very lonely per se. I'm very introverted, but I'm really outgoing. So I don't go anywhere at all. Mainly since I grew up with VR, I guess now it's just my entire livelihood. But now I'm stuck here and I'm in it for the long run. And you know what? I don't regret a second of it, because I'm happy. Happy being myself on here.
But but you're also the same person outside of VR. I mean, the same cheerful person, same kind of person. Because there are people that come in here to be something else, be somebody else, like you were saying. They try to find a personification that they can actually put themselves into and become that. But you are not doing that. You're actually trying to bring your own IRL personification in here, like putting it literally.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I'm doing. Because, well, if I were to meet with somebody, the thing that you are getting now would be the exact same thing you're getting there as well. That's exactly how I feel about it, because I don't have a need to hide myself behind anything, because like I said, I'm proud to be me. I'm not going to hide behind anything. So this is what you're going to get, whether you like it or not. And I'm not going to change myself for you at all, because I'm happy to be me. And as long as I try to be the best person I can be, all that matters. And that's all I can say to you, or anybody else for that matter. Be the best person who you can be. That's all that matters. As long as you keep striving to be better, what else do you need?
Would you consider VR like a form of escape from, for example, the work that you do? Because there are people that, for example, a lot of people in the furry community, as established, work some really hardcore jobs. You'd see a lot of people who are working in IT, people who work in the military, or people who, scientists, pilots, and just like people who have like really demanding workloads. And sometimes they just like to unwind, just log in here, for example, aside from going to conventions, for example. That's like one thing that a lot of people do. There's also some people that also spend time in here to unwind. I had several guests here at Pier-to-Pier who do just that. And I'd like to know if, for example, you, with what you do you consider this like an escape, like a break from like the monotony of life? Or do you just come in here? Like, what's your reason for coming in here in the first place?
At first, whenever I first started, it was, I got on to escape the world as it is, because throughout my life, it was just responsibility after responsibility after responsibility after responsibility. But I did use it as kind of a gateway just so I can enjoy myself just for a little bit and be with people and be with the people I like, even if that is here. And in the past, before I did live by myself, my mom is one of those people who is, so I just got a notification, one of those people that are crazy religious and stuff like that and believes in Yahweh. And she would turn off the Wi-Fi because she would always be like, I can feel it in my brain when I'm trying to sleep and I can't sleep with it on. So she would turn off the Wi-Fi. It made me resent her because then I couldn't get on with my friends. I couldn't be here. So it was kind of an escape. But now that I'm here, I feel like I have a bit more of a choice. Whenever I first moved to my own apartment now, I didn't get on VR at all because I didn't really have a setup. And whenever I first did that, I was like, yeah, sure, I can escape VR for a little bit. But after a week of not being on VR chat, and I just saw a video on VR chat, I just wanted to be back so bad. So yes, unfortunately, this is my escape. I can just be here and talk with people. It's nice because it's hard for me to like get out and do stuff in my life. Like I said, it's hard for me to really get out there. But here, I feel like I can actually talk to people, and it's easier to do such a thing. Easier to meet, easier to talk, and easy to like be here. Nice. So it is kind of an escape.
One final question before we end up the episode, because we're running out of time, unfortunately. This is a question that I ask. Time flies by at the pier. I keep telling people that. It's that's why I love the pier. That's why I love doing this. I like listening to people's stories and just sharing insight, experiences, and life inside and out of VR. That's our motto. But I want to finish this. Asking you the same question that we ask every single person that we have over here at the pier. Because even though this is a VR podcast, I always like to leave the final question to so it's directed towards the people that don't have VR. At one point, I didn't have VR. Like my first experience was all the way back in 2016, HTC Vive, long time ago. Long time ago, and it was breathtaking. It was breathtaking. It was breathtaking, and I want more people to get into this platform, into this, into VR devices, get headsets, because I feel like it changes people's lives for the better. I had people from all different walks of life in here talking a little bit about how VR has helped them be themselves or escape or just become better people overall. Now, I want you to talk to our audience because I always like to leave this open. Like, if you could talk to the person that doesn't have a VR headset, but is like thinking about it or is still like dubious about getting a VR headset, what would you tell them?
I would really say that try it out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But the people that you really surround yourself with and the people that are around you truly make out who you are as a person, builds your character. And I do like VR because it allows you to get more people within your life and help you acknowledge things, find things, help you out with things. They help out tremendously, build up who you are. And I wouldn't be here who I am if it wasn't for all the people that I've met on VR. That could be for the good, that could be for the bad. I have yet to meet someone that I haven't learned something from. And I'm really happy that I met every single person on VR. That built up to who I am today. That's really about it. Every person you surround yourself with, VR or not VR, builds up who you are as a person and your character. It builds up who you are. And VR just allows you to get that easier. That's why I feel like I'm so kind of like complete. Only 21 years old.
Those are some mighty words. And again, thank you very much for being here at the pier with us. And thank you, our audience, for tuning in for another episode of Pier-to-Pier Podcast, where we explore the people who reside within the virtual worlds and the stories and knowledge that they carry. May you all have a wonderful rest of your day.